We saw Thomas de Gendt take a breakaway win at the Volta Catalunya today. Elsewhere in the race, Ineos, I mean, Brad, you called this last week.
Yeah.
They went in, they meant business. They sent, I mean, arguably the strongest team they possibly could. They've ended up on GC with the 1-2-3. Adam Yates clinching the biggest stage race win of his career. Richie Porte second, and Geraint Thomas in third. Domination, the perfect week.
Yeah,
for them,
I mean, they made a statement with the team they selected. I said that G needed a performance probably for himself, and but not a winning performance, but a performance where he shows the type of teammate he could be, the super domestique, and he showed that. It wasn't about winning for G. It was about the Tour de France, and that shows that we saw him at Tirreno ducking and diving, but they'd obviously been at altitude before Tirreno, and that always has an effect, in that first race. But he looked every bit the G, even without winning, that he did a few years ago, winning that Tour. And I think he's a real threat this year. Adam has now, it's fair to say, come of age within that team. That's the last. It feels like with Adam that, he was always a man who was seconds, thirds, fourths, fifth. He's always very, very consistent. But he's now kind of come of age, if you like his brother did a few years ago, and that probably the icing on the cake was going to Ineos. Really, that's given him that extra.
It's done something, isn't it, for Adam Yates? I mean, he's clearly
it's the perfect team for him. Isn't it?
He's settled in really, really well, and I think when you look at the objectives of the squad, the ability for guys like Thomas to kind of ride a good race out or near the head of affairs, but not worry about necessarily winning, but have a really good hard workout, and in the process of helping your teammate to win, end up with a podium. For the morale of the team, for the morale of G, is going to be wonderful, and then for Adam as well, because Adam isn't going to be, as far as I understand, is focusing on the Volta later in the year, isn't he, as well? So he can now turn on to kind of looking to ride for everybody else. He's got that big win, that big World Tour 1 week stage race, as you said, the biggest week-long stage race of his career, without a shadow of a doubt.
That team really suits certain riders. I mean, aside from Richie's Tour de France last year, he looks like every bit the rider now who's going to be such a big, asset to that team come July.
Can we say he stepped out of his brother's shadow, Adam Yates?
Yeah, and he probably had to leave the team to do that. I know that they work very well together. It's not a competition between them, but I just think that system will suit Adam down to the ground way more than Bike Exchange. And that's not to say that team didn't suit him, but it's sometimes a change is good. And you go to Ineos and with the strength of riders around him, I mean, the objective is clear this week. It was to win the race, and an incredible performance, really.
We're talking about him in terms of okay, he can now do a job for the other riders around him. Has he not put himself in the frame for a leadership role? I mean, we're assuming at this point he's going to do the Volta as their leader, but could his performances thus far this season, so strong in the UAE, only outgunned by Pogacar, taking on and sort of leaving Sepp Kuss, Alejandro Valverde in his wake this week, winning stage 3, proper statement stuff from Adam Yates. Can we talk about him in terms of leading Ineos at the Tour now?
Not this year, because I think it will, unless there's something extreme happens to Geraint. That performance from Geraint is cemented more than anything his leadership for the Tour, because he was, in some terms of sort of sharing out the spoils, he's done that for Adam, and everything's on track. Adam, I always said even last year when we announced the signing of him, that this ain't about him coming in and taking leadership. It's clear this year. Bernal for the Giro, as we understand, G for the Tour, and then Adam is the next one on the list after that. With the departure of Froome, Geraint, you'd think maybe coming towards the end of his career, but again, never underestimate him. Adam is the next one now, the next British star that they will look to win the Tour in the next 2, 3, 4 years. These are like the early stages, if you like.
There's not the sense that, okay, Teo's he's had a bang. His season hasn't started quite as well as we hope he might have done. Do we sub out Adam Yates for Teo at the Tour?
I personally think Teo can go to the Tour, assuming he gets, he corrects this injury and gets some racing in his legs, because the poor lad's only had 3 days racing so far this year, up to now, isn't he? Which is a big shame. So we don't know what's going on behind the scenes in kind of terms of reconfiguring Teo's season. But for Teo to go to the Tour, had he had a normal kind of run into it, it's just an important part of his career. Having won the Giro, the next step is to go to the Tour without any pressure, because you've got two leaders for the Tour. You've got Carapaz and Geraint, and then you've got Bernal, as Brad just said, for the Giro d'Italia, and then Adam. So kind of Teo's got this kind of role. Okay, it's just almost like, it's kind of a very old-fashioned term, but I think Teo needs to be blooded, as it were, in the Tour de France. That's really important. But because of the smaller teams now, and if Teo's not quite right, Ineos will pull him out. They'll pull him from the Tour and maybe he might not even be ready for the Giro. It could be a Volta situation, and Adam comes back in for the Tour. Who knows?
I think he's bottom of that list of leaders, even though he's won a Grand Tour.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.